Get a whole new perspective on Ram 1500 and Ram Heavy Duty, Motor Trend's back-to-back Truck of the Year at the Ram Start Something New sales event. Now during Owner Appreciation Month, financing at $11,250 in total values on the 2019 Ram 1500 Classic Bighorn Crew Cab. Hurry in for great deals during the Ram Start Something New sales event. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Chrysler Capital. Not all buyers will qualify. Package value is based on combined value of package items. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery from dealer stock by 2/3/2020.
Hey readers, welcome back, and thanks for downloading the first episode of 2020. I am your host, Tamara Ford, and thank you for downloading this week's book chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. If you are new here, every week we get bookish with roundtable book discussions, 5-minute shelf bites, interviews, and more. Subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss out on any of this book nerd awesomeness. If you'd like to email in feedback or questions, feel free to reach out to me at info@shelfaddiction.com or call in and leave an internet voice message via SpeakPipe. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shelf Addiction. The links for everything related to today's episode, including my social media links, are below in the show notes. If you know someone who may enjoy this episode or this podcast, please share it with them today. So a few weeks ago, when I was reviewing my 2019 reading goals, I realized that I was still comparing myself to other readers. And I gotta say, that's never good. You know what they say about comparison, right? It's like the death of joy or the thief of joy or something like that, I think is the phrase. So I try not to do that, but I found myself doing that when it came to my reading goals. And of course, congratulations to everyone that has reached their 2019 goals, whether that's $150, 5 books, 250 books, whatever it was. I congratulate you on reaching your goals. I respect that, and I find that is awesome. I love meeting goals. But I've come to realize and accept that a 100 plus book goal is just not the kind of goal that I can do ever. That's just not my life. And I think if that's not your life, that's okay. Don't feel bad that you're not reading 100 books a year. I personally don't have the bandwidth to do that kind of reading, and it wouldn't be fun for me if I tried to keep up with that. So this year, for 2020, I did set a Goodreads goal number, which was kind of in line with last year. But guess what? I'm not focused on that this year. If I make it happen, great. If not, I'm fine with it, because this year is all about reclaiming that passion for reading and staying true to that by reading only what I want to read and not feeling pressured about it. So this past year, I think I missed that feeling of excitement for a good amount of the books that I read. I really only want to share titles that I am truly excited about. And the number of books that I've read at the end of the year, again, will be what it is. And it's not really a factor. So if I read 55 books or 95 books, it's all going to be books that I felt good about picking up and that I was motivated to read. All of the book selections may not be winners, but I'll still be happy because I didn't feel obligated to read it, which in turn will definitely keep me out of that reading slump. And I think my podcast and social media feeds will reflect that. So what about you? Have you thought about just reading what you want, reading for fun, reading for the joy of reading, and not necessarily tying that to how many books you can get done on NetGalley or how many ARCs you can get, or I want to read a huge amount of books? While that's great, I think sometimes it starts to feel more like a job than something that is a passion. And I just want to do something different for 2020. So since I'm feeling all the warm and gooey feelings about reading, you can expect more shelf bites here on the podcast. I really love doing them, especially when I enjoy the book. So because of that, you'll only hear books that I rate 4 or 5 out of 5. Same for my nonfiction shelf series. I won't be doing one a month because the ones you will hear will only have a good rating. There's nothing worse than trying to come up with positive things to say when you just want to carry on with all the negatives. Because of this, again, I'm only going to be sharing 4 and 5 bookmark ratings because I have a great time talking about those books that get high ratings. So I hope you follow along on my 2020 reading journey. I have a very strong feeling that this will be a winning reading year for myself and for you. I'm excited to see what you're going to be reading throughout this year as well. Feel free to comment on this podcast on shelfaddiction.com or on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you see me posting, and let me know kind of what your goals are, if you've adjusted your goals from last year. And yeah, let's talk about reading goals. But with that said, more Shelf Bites are coming. But don't worry, you will still hear author and narrator interviews, but they will likely tie into a book or series that I have previously enjoyed. So again, all of this is about the joy of reading and listening. Now that I got that out of the way, I would love to share some of the new things that are coming to the Shelf Addiction community. So first, Shelf Addiction Official, which, as you know, if you've been around for a while, we have an official Facebook group, and we do our monthly live chats there for both the Buddy Read series and the 3 Bloggers 1 series read along series. So what's new is that we're going to be doing a live giveaway during the book chats. So if you participate, you have a chance to win an Amazon gift card. So there will be a drawing for each and every book chat that we have in the private Facebook group. So join today. You don't want to miss out on that. So along with that, I decided, hey, I'm loving the merch that is available for Shelf Addiction. It's so cute. I love it. I've ordered a few shirts myself, and I gave one away to one lucky winner in December. So because I love the shirts so much, I thought it would be a really fun quarterly giveaway that I can do for the listeners of the podcast and in Shelf Addiction Official. So definitely you'll want to be in the group so that you don't miss out on any of those giveaways. And of course, for those of you that choose to support the podcast a little bit more, and do that via Patreon, new for 2020, the Patreon page has been kind of refreshed. So for people that subscribe for as little as $2, you get to see uncut video. Yes, guys, starting with this one. So if you are on Patreon, you are seeing my face right now and you're catching all my mess ups before I cut them out for the beauty of podcasting. All of the podcast, including the book discussions and book list and interviews, of course, that is pending on if the author or narrator wants to be on camera. I can't force them to be on camera, so some of them may or may not be available. But along with my co-host, Classy, Nicola, and Casey, we will be talking about urban fantasy and thriller titles all year long, and you can see us in person as we get excited and talk about these books. So not only that, but you may be seeing some extra bonus things like after shows, and just you can see us choose our next book. So for example, on Buddy Reads, Classy and I, after we record, we talk about how we're going to select the next book. We come with some suggestions and we talk them over, and then you can see that whole process on Patreon. And with the 3 Bloggers 1 series, we get really excited because we read sometimes long series and they're rereads for us. So sometimes we get to go a little further into the lore or the spoilers, and we talk about how things in the present book that we're reading affect things that happen later in the series. So if you want a little more deep dive and you are game for spoilers, then definitely you'll want to check out that after show. And again, that is all going to be on Patreon. The goal this year has really been set to kind of grow this channel even more, do that with making it possible to share with other people, with ads, and, draw different communities here to this podcast, and really just support the maintenance of posting this every month and hosting it. Audio has to live somewhere and it's not free to hold the audio somewhere. I'd love to see you over on Patreon, because this is a really excellent way to support the podcast. And I'm really trying to have a goal of 100 Patreons. And when I get to 100 Patreons, I may do something special. I don't know what exactly. I'm still trying to figure that out when I hit the goal of 100. But yeah, that's my goal. Okay, so also I do want to share what some of the other levels are on Patreon in case you're not familiar. When you sign up at the $5 level, you'll hear me thank you right here on one of the episodes. So if you want to hear your name, you want me to thank you on air, this is the way, through Patreon at a $5 a month. And then we have a $15 level, which also gains you access to a Patreon only live stream. I'll do that once a month, and we can just chill and talk about books and TV and movies and audiobooks, like all the things. We can talk about what we're reading and watching and what we want to watch and just geek out over series or shows or reality TV or whatever we're all into. And then we have a few more upper levels, of which one of those includes like stickers and a t-shirt and things like that. And the highest level, you could actually be a co-host for an episode. If you want to pick a book, you want to talk about it with me, if you want to talk about a TV show or a movie, we can work it out. We can get together and see what show and topic works best for you on the network. So yeah, there's so many options available on Patreon. And definitely, I hope you are just willing to check it out, if nothing else. And if you don't want to do anything monetary, I understand that as well. You can support the podcast by doing other things that cost you nothing. You can share your favorite episodes or even the most recent episode on Facebook or Twitter. You can leave a positive review on Apple Podcast. You can comment on posts on social media. You can participate in the Facebook group, be an active member. All of those things still support the podcast without any monetary buy-in. So I would just love your help in reaching this goal as far as Patreon, and as well as just elevating the awareness of shelf addiction. We have hundreds of us that listen to each episode, hundreds every week, and I would love to see that turn into thousands. And I know with you guys, Book Nerds Unite, with you guys helping, I know we can get there for 2020. So I know I've kind of rambled a little bit about new things, goals, just about kind of coming together to kind of take shelf addiction to the next level. And I'm so excited. So please, reach out to me. Let me know what you want to see on the show, who you'd like to see as an interview, what you're interested in reading this year, what kind of things you would like from me as far as content. I am open to listen. This is a year to have fun. I'm having fun with reading. I'm having fun with the podcast topics. It's just going to be a whole nother level of things. And I feel like it's going to be stress-free, and it's just going to be a good time. You're going to have a good time. I'm going to have a good time, and it's going to be fun times. So yeah. All right. So that's all I have to say for 2020, the new year, the kickoff of the new year. Thanks for, sticking around after 2 weeks off. I had a nice little 2-week break at the beginning of January. I didn't take an official break in December. I kind of posted every week in December. So I decided, well, let's just take 2 weeks off in January, enjoy the first, beginning of the year, rev up with some changes, revamp and all of that. So with all of that stuff underway, the year is underway. We've got some good stuff. I've actually already read some really good books this year, which I'm really excited about. So actually, yeah, let me know if you guys read any good books already. It's early. It's like halfway through the month. And I know with the book nerds that you are, you've probably read 1 or 2, maybe 3 books already. So if any of those have been winners, hey, tweet at me, shoot them over to me. I might have to add them to my TBR, because that TBR list, it never ends. Never. And I understand. I accept it. I own it. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you being here. And I will catch you in the next episode. And until then, happy reading. Take care, guys. If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcast and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.
A road is just a road, but a Jeep SUV isn't just an SUV. Come see for yourself at the Jeep Start Something New sales event. During Owner Appreciation Month, finance get $3,750 total cash allowance on the purchase of select 2020 Jeep Compass Latitude 4x4 models in dealer stock the longest. On oldest 20% inventory of 2020 Jeep Compass Latitude models as of 1/3/2020 in dealer stock. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Chrysler Capital. Not all buyers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 2/3/2020. Jeep is a registered trademark.